Imagine gasping for air as you feel someone's hands around your neck, actually choking the life right out of you. You may even pass out, but then they revive you and do it all over again. All the while, you may be thinking, am I dying? This occurs more often than you think. During moments of proposed intimacy, the lasting effects are devastating. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Dr. Debbie Lassiter, the Executive Director and co-founder of the Convergence Resource Center, and I'm here with my colleague.
Hi, I'm Carla McKeever, co-founder and CFO of Convergence Resource Center, and we welcome you back to the conversation.
Before we begin, let me make this perfectly clear, because we don't want to hear from individuals that enjoy this and continue doing it. That's your right. That's your prerogative. We are talking about people who don't enjoy it and people who don't want it to continue happening to them. The realities of strangulation are that it is now called non-fatal strangulation, which doesn't make it any better, is a highly prevalent and lethal form of assault and coercive control in human trafficking, particularly in sex trafficking. Up to 17% of trafficking victims report experiencing non-fatal strangulation or asphyxiation by their traffickers. It's systematically used as a tool to instill severe fear, ensure compliance, and assert dominance. What do you think about that, Carla?
I think that's pretty serious. I could remember hearing, like we've done a lot. We've seen a lot of things. So even when there are parts in like pornography, I've heard people that have gotten out of it and they said they used to have to go and they'd have to bring their own protection. And I believe it was from like this strangulation and going too far and people not surviving it.
Oh yeah, they don't survive, a lot of them. There's a really high risk of co-occurrence, and reports say that strangulation, it frequently overlaps with severe physical and sexual violence. There are 1 in 5 reported to have gone through this. And this is reported by the Safe Alliance.
Okay.
They say that studies indicate that roughly 1 in 6 sex trafficking victims will experience non-fatal strangulation. In many instances, it is used repeatedly as a mechanism of a systematic torture by traffickers. And I've talked to young ladies that have gone through this, and they really talk about how they feel like they're dying, and then the person revives them and does it again. And it's not just the trafficker, it is also the client, if you will, that is purchasing the sex act. But now we're even finding out in some romantic relationships that strangulation, non-fatal as they call it, strangulation is actually going on. Now, in trafficking, however, though, many times the victim is strangled because they didn't meet their quota. And I've heard people say they don't believe that these quota things are real. Those quotas are absolutely real. And if they don't make those quotas, there's a lot that they're punished with. But this is one way. And we don't want to get too graphic. But if you can imagine that you're doing something with a person which you believe is an intimate act, and they put their hands around your neck and start choking you.
Yeah.
And they are somehow getting pleasure out of this. You gasping for air. You actually blacking out. And many times they lose control of their bowels.
Wow.
But then they revive you and do it again.
When I was doing a little bit of research on this strangulation, they were saying that it's talked about even among teens and in school. But it seems to, like you want more and more. It's almost like an addiction. But I mean, how do you the only thing you're addicted to is strangling someone. I would never.
I see it as kind of like the dominance and control of a rape control of a control rapist who is doing it for the control piece of it. But they will say, "Oh no, but I love her." Well, what are you doing? Now again, there are people who enjoy this, and I'm not addressing them. I'm addressing the people who don't, and for many reasons are in it. They say that there's so much long-term harm in these interpersonal interactions where these things happen, and strangulation or non-fatal strangulation, as they say, it is one of the highest predictors of future homicide. So somebody is usually going to die.
Well, so is it that when they are actually performing this act, do you think well, I'm not saying do you think, but are they planning to go as far as death?
You never know.
Does it just accidentally happen?
You never know.
Right?
In some cases, they said it accidentally happened, but I don't know how it accidentally happened and you were choking me. Okay, I mean,
That's true.
How was that accidental? But listen to this. There are some severe health impacts, right? Repeated asphyxiation causes long-term physical and neurological trauma, which makes sense to me, right? They suffer from traumatic brain injuries from being strangled. Now, we think traumatic brain injury, they got to hit you in the head. It can come from strangulation, non-fatal strangulation. I got to keep saying that. I don't know why, right? But they can also suffer voice loss because you're damaging their vocal cords. And something called laryngeal edema. And this is swelling of the vocal cords and surrounding tissues in the larynx. And that's your voice box right there. And we have people now today that clients that we have who are having problems with their voices in their throats because they're so repeatedly strangled. They jump if you walk up behind them because many times the trafficker would come up behind them. They could be sitting eating dinner, come up behind them and just start strangling them.
That's that trauma.
Yeah.
That's that trauma. You get jumpy when someone is abusing you. Anytime.
Yeah.
So you never know when it's going to happen.
Exactly.
So your whole body is just reactive. It's very reactive. But even this, to me, can even lead to brain damage.
Yes.
Without enough oxygen going to your brain. There was
exactly it.
something I had seen. He was a perpetrator, and he had choked her and beat her, kidnapped someone, not even, just kidnapped her. And she has permanent brain damage from being beat and strangled. I'm like, how do you, keep him in jail?
And it also narrows the airway. And it is a medical emergency that can lead to asphyxiation, delayed airway obstruction. So there's so many ways that the person can actually die where this thing can become fatal. And we haven't really gotten into the psychological trauma that victims experience during this. Because if you can, I can't imagine what that feels like, right? These mental states and this prolonged loss of oxygen, like you're just saying, and then they come back and you're looking into the face of the person that's saying, hey, we're going again, Or the ones who are trying to push the envelope to see how far you can go before you actually die, and they misjudge, Now, does this only happen to adults?
This is almost like, no, it happens to children too. They're doing it in, sexually active. Younger adults are
even
involved.
Children.
Yeah.
Even children. You have grown people assaulting children and strangling children until they black out and bringing them back and doing it again. And sometimes they misjudge and that child doesn't make it.
It's like Russian roulette.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely like Russian roulette. From the National Institutes of Health, now they have some red flags for providers. You want to share some of those with us, Carla?
Well, there are the red flags are throat pain. You talked about the voice changing. You also the small red dots on your face.
Yeah, now they
You
call that
know,
petechia.
yeah.
Yeah, small red dots on your eyes and your face.
So sometimes people don't have to say anything, but if you're observant, you will see these things.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know, when you know, oh, what's wrong with your throat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these are, it's just critical the way things are today. I mean, it doesn't seem like some of the things we talk about are, of course, you know, human trafficking is not a happy subject.
Right, right.
But some of these things just automatically lead to death. It's like you don't always get a second chance.
That's right. You don't always get a second chance.
No.
And this is kind of really, this is one of those things when you're sitting across from a person that it has happened to, and that it has happened to repeatedly, because there are several women that we work with that it has happened to and happened repeatedly. They have experienced, and some folks are going to probably, you know, scoff at this, but they actually have reported having out-of-body experiences when it has happened, where they are looking at themselves being strangled. And I can't deny them that. I can't say that it didn't happen, but there's so many reports of it. They're saying that it does happen. The trauma is so great that the person actually separates from their body. And then to be in a trafficking situation or even a romantic situation where after all of this has happened, the person still expects you to act like someone that is in love with them.
Right.
I don't know if I'd make it, Carl.
I don't even think
I'd make it.
the victim doesn't even make it. And this is what causes a lot of mental problems and mental anxiety, DID.
Yes.
Because you're
Can you tell people what DID is for those that may not know?
Well, it's when you said out of body, you actually think you're somewhere else. You think you're someone else to protect yourself, because you disassociate to try and protect your own mental stability. Your brain doesn't know what to do.
Yes.
So it's like, you know what? You're not going to be you right now. You're going to have to be someone else, because right now I just see imminent. You can't take it. So you get all of these things from this trauma of someone choking you. And to me, anytime you try to choke me, you're trying to kill me.
Exactly. That is exactly what and then anytime you put your hand anywhere near my neck, even if we're not in an intimate situation, I'm completely re-traumatized again.
Yes.
Because I'm like, uh-oh, is getting ready to happen? Now that's in the romantic relationships. In trafficking situations, they can pay extra to be able to do that to you.
And that's why we're talking about it, because that is not pandering. That is sexual assault. When someone is choking someone, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, no matter what, no, you're not playing. No, we weren't engaged in this together. You know, once you decide to start choking me and trying to kill me, you're trying to kill me.
And I guess some people would say, well, you know, you don't understand because you don't do it. I venture to say that there are some things in life I'm never going to understand. And I think that goes in that category.
Yeah, it is in that category.
I'm not going to understand that one. Well, Carla, we looked at red flags, and we've looked at, you know, what the National Institutes of Health say. I can say from talking to people with this lived experience, years after it is over, they are still experiencing that trauma. And in a second, a flashback can occur. You walk up to them and, you know, reach to hug them or whatever and get too close to their neck and they're right back there. And some of them cannot stand for someone to walk up behind them. And other things are, they are still having mental problems, I mean, health problems with their throat. Still going to the doctor to try to make sure that everything there is okay. In most cases, it does go back, but you probably can permanently damage some of those throat muscles, I would imagine, you know. But I don't know how you look in somebody's eyes after you've done that to them and expect to see a friendly person looking back.
I don't understand. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, you know, when you read upon this and you find someone that might have come back, but they didn't come back right. They came back being mentally disabled because of the oxygen not getting back to their brain. So even though you say you bring them back, I doubt that. You didn't bring them back. You brought them back traumatized. You brought them back being mentally impaired. You brought them back with something, a PTSD, where something they can never forget and are scared, like you say, from jumping because someone's behind them.
I would love to know where this originated, that we thought this was a good idea. We probably would never be able to find that out. But what we do know is that if you have a friend, a relative, an acquaintance, or someone that you think is going through something like this, and they don't want to come forward for themselves, you can still report it anonymously to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. There are various other hotlines that this can be referred to. And for your friend or relative or someone that you know that may need assistance, and you see some of these signs that we talked about, because I think that people are always looking for, they got a scarf around their neck in the summer, and that means that they've, got throat, bruises on their throat and this and that, whatever. I don't know that that's always going to be the best clue for you.
Right.
But even if somebody jumps excessively when you walk behind them, you may want to have that conversation. Are you okay? Did something happen that you don't want to talk about? Is there something I can do for you? Because keep in mind, especially even if it's in a marriage, if this is happening, the person at one point or some point in time loved that person. And that person is still saying back they love them, right? So you have to be careful. You're crossing those lines, because you're crossing those intimacy lines, and that's a slippery slope right there.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
No. I was just saying there's a lot of things that have changed over the years, and we see a lot more. We see a lot more devastation, where we used to just see simple things, but now they're complex.
Very complex.
So this is complex to me.
Very complex.
Yes.
Especially in a situation where you believe you have two consenting adults. And one of them is consenting not because they really want to do it, but because they don't want to lose the other person.
Right.
And that's a scary situation. We want to encourage you, if you need assistance in that area, just to call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888, or reach out to a domestic violence and sexual assault hotline and see if there's something you can do to help. But please don't push, because somebody could get hurt.
They could. And if you have, even if you have a question or anything, you can always contact us at CRC, contact us at convergenceresource.org. Check out our website at convergenceresource.org. And also, please tune in for Dr. Lassiter on Triumph Rising on Mondays at 12:30 p.m. every Monday with different subjects. Because these might not be subjects that you talk with just over the coffee. But if you get some coffee and tune in, this is like talking to a friend.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for having this little conversation with me, and we'll talk to you next time.
The Convergence Resource Center provides comprehensive support services to women rebuilding their lives after trauma, with a focused emphasis on survivors of human trafficking and justice-involved women. Convergence Resource Center supports women on their journey of healing and restoration after trauma, with a special focus on survivors of human trafficking and women impacted by the justice system. For more information about the Convergence Resource Center and how you can get involved, visit us online at www.convergenceresource.org.